Hi everyone, it's me again. As I promised, I'm gonna do a deep analysis for the second episode for Higurashi Sotsu. As you know, this episode was incredibly crazy. I mean, if this episode was just as crazy and this is just the first arc, I could just imagine when we get to the answers for Nekodamashi. As you know, that arc was incredibly crazy, violent. Man, I could just imagine just how crazy it's gonna get once we see it answer in Sotsu. But let's begin. So the episode begins with Rena shopping for tools at a hardware store, saying that she has to work harder. You know, the Hinamisawa syndromes are already getting pretty bad on her. Then the next scene, we see his dad confronting her about seeing the bag inside her room. Rena is easily able to cover her tracks by saying that she found something in the dam that she needs all that stuff to get it out. Then before Rena heads to school, she heads to the dump site to hide the bag in her secret hideout. And this explains why she was late on medication that morning. Now, this is where things are gonna get quite more interesting. Remember in Higurashi Go on the first episode, we see that on June 14, it begins raining, just like it did in Sumikoroboshi. And I predicted that Rena must have killed Rena and Teppei in Onidamashi. However, I did not expect to see this twist. While they're at school, Rena says that she can't stay for club activities as she has something to do. Also, the club decides that to call it a day since it's gonna rain soon. And as Rena leaves, we see Sadako watching over her by a window, like she knows what Rena is gonna do. Rena once again visits the hardware store to buy more supply, but this time we see her buying saws. Goodness, it's just pretty freaky, and taking all the stuff she bought and hiding in her secret hideout. So by the time Rena arrives at her home, we see that Rena arrives in that moment. And that face Rena makes is just so unsettling. I noticed that there were some quite differences in this. In Tsumihoroboshi, Rena finds Rena heading to the dam and follows her to her secret hideout. Right here, we see Rena luring her to her secret hideout with the excuse to needing help to dig for a treasure, which Rena decides to help her. And as you know, as they're heading to the dam, it's getting dark. By the time they arrive to her secret hideout, it's quite scary and sad, like the warnings that Rena is literally giving Rena about this place being somewhere where no one knows about, and Rena is too oblivious to understand it. Another thing that I noticed that happened in Sumikoroboshi, Rena did say the same things about this place being completely away from everyone. However, Rena understands the meaning of her words. I mean, you know, in this answer arc, Rena literally tries to kill Rena. As soon as it starts raining, Rena has no choice to get inside Rena's secret hideout, despite Rena asking her to stay outside. We see this really angers Rena, and this is when things get a little sad. As you know, Rena came here with good intentions. I mean, she's literally asking Rena for some help to convince her father to stop looking for her. She doesn't want to continue her relationship with him. You know, she started sympathizing with him, that the situation that he's in, being raised by a single parent, and also she says that she'll do her best to not see him again and prevent him from getting near her. And this is when things get very, very scary and very, very disturbing. Rena starts choking Rena. Goodness, the face that Rena makes as she's getting choked is just quite disturbing. Rena uses the lamp to hit her on the head and immediately tries to flee. And as she runs away and tries to climb the mountain of garbage, she falls and survives the fall. This is a little different. I remember in Sumihoroboshi, Rena climbs the same mountain, she falls and breaks her neck. Right here, she survives the fall. Despite pleading for her life, Rena kills her. After killing her, Rena starts dragging Rena's body close to her secret hideout, to use the lamp's light. and she begins cutting the body. And watching from afar, we see Sadako watching. After finishing cutting the body and wrapping it up in all the supplies that she brought from the hardware stores, Rena realizes that she needs to hide the body parts. It's quite disturbing seeing Rena's body literally cut into multiple pieces. Then the following day is June 15, and once again Rena skips club activities with the same excuse that she has stuff to do. She heads to the dam once again to verify that Rena's body is still in the same location that she hid it. And this is where we see Keiichi arriving. This completely freaks Rena out. I even noticed that in Higurashi Go, she acted a little strange in that moment. And we're seeing here the face that she makes the moment she hears Keiichi's voice. It's quite creepy. And it gets even more creepy when she's easily able to switch to her innocent and cute persona to fool Keiichi. As Keiichi, is moving all that stuff around to try to take the doll out, he gets tired and he decides to take a break. Rena decides to bring a tool and some tea to him. Once Rena gets away from Keiichi, we see that she's already getting paranoid about Keiichi seeing the body parts, and she decides that she has to continue working much harder. We see her heading to her secret hideout to retrieve a large hatchet, which I believe she was really ready to kill Keiichi. As you know, Keiichi, I guess, spots her shadow and screams. And of course, this scares Rena and causes her to drop her weapon. However, they don't stay long at the dam as it's almost nighttime and Keiichi decides to continue for another day. However, he promises to help her once again while Rena, she starts laughing, very excited to get the doll out. But this is where things get quite disturbing. While hearing her innocent laughter, it then turns into this psychotic and maddening laughter. It gave me the creeps. The next scene, we see Rena meeting Keiichi's mom on the supermarket and stating how Keiichi can cook to fend for himself. This is foreshadowing how Keiichi's mom is going to ask Rena to make food for Keiichi when she and her husband are going to head to Tokyo. On her way home, we see Oishi approaching Rena. This is completely different. In Sumikoroboshi, Oishi doesn't even approach Rena after the Watanagashi. In Onikakushi and Onidamashi, Oishi approaches Keiichi after the Watanagashi. So, what I learned so far from this world, Oishi approaches both Keiichi and Rena, just in different times. Of course, Oishi is there for police business and asks Rena if he has seen Rena since she disappeared a day ago. Of course, Rena is very clever and is easily able to cover her tracks. And just before Oishi leaves, he tells Rena wishing to catch a break from Horashiro's curse this year. This, of course, triggers Rena. She's an incredibly hardcore believer in the curse. And we see her getting this angry, and this is where the episode ends. And goodness, this episode was incredibly crazy. We get to see a little bit more answers to what exactly happened in this first timeline that we're seeing. I already predicted, we already see hints that when Keiichi's mom is going to approach Rena to ask her to cook a meal for Keiichi when they go away for a business trip in Tokyo. Also, I wonder when is Rena going to murder Teppei, if Teppei even comes. I believe Teppei might return to the village, who knows, looking for Rena. As you know, Teppei and Rena were quite close. Then I wonder what's going to happen after the Watanagashi. In this world, Tomitake doesn't die. He disappears along with Takano. And I wonder if we're going to see what exactly happened when Takano and Tomitake run away. And where do they run away to? Also, I wonder what exactly is Sadako going to do after the Watanagashi or during the Watanagashi. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one as soon as episode 3 for Higurashi Sotsu comes out, and I hope to see you then.